And in this case, it may be, if we have algorithmic decision making across every layer, it may be this, yes, AI may become our new boss. And if AI becomes our new boss, there'll be new norms of work. There'll be a different mindset of how we make decisions, for what reason, and what will be the role of humans. So this is something that made me think a lot in the last few years. And I decided to write a book on it called Leadership by Algorithm: Who Leads and Who Follows in the AI Era. Leadership usually means that we have the person who fits best with the requirements of the situation that we're confronted with. So could it be that AI, because of its fit with these situational demands, will move into the role of a leader? What we'll see is that who follows will always decide who will be the leader. And in this case, as humans, we are very good followers at the moment when it comes down to AI. So in a way, AI seems to have, or AI-enabled technologies moving into decision-making roles will have that appeal. And the business model of tomorrow may be this, where we follow an AI, it ultimately will lead because of the requirements that we need in terms of the situations that we face. They have a warehouse tracking system where algorithms keep track of what you're doing, directing you, trying to motivate you to work harder because based on your statistics, you're doing well, you're not doing well. But what is important here is they also have received discretion to fire you. So without any human involvement. So they're the decision maker. They're literally leading these teams at the warehouse tracking systems. And what is interesting is that during COVID-19, certain startups who've been working on that, on robots, on algorithms, who can be used for supervising tasks, the demand for that has increased by a factor 4. So we see there's so much to be said. AI can move into a role where it will run an organization because of its traits, because it fits the requirements of the situation. So the intuition part there, the authentic emotion recognition, makes humans different already in dealing with this. And so machine learning methods, they excel in imitating the real world, but they often lack the real understanding of that world, what it means especially to humans, because if you're going to lead, you need to know that you can make decisions that are meaningful and will have an impact on the world, the ones you're leading. So does this mean that although it seems to have all the assets to run your organization, AI is limited in certain ways? But it doesn't mean that AI will not help running your organizations. If we look at the management literature, there are 2 types of running an organization. We call it management and leadership, and they're not the same. So I just want to make that distinction a little bit more. So if we look at what is currently being automated, then we see like automation happens when AI can be used as a tool, just like a spreadsheet, for example, or an advisor. It can assess certain things very quickly, come up with information and provides advice, or even as a manager to some extent. What is also interesting is that if we look at what managers do, human managers, and we see that about 54% of their time they spend on administrative tasks involving data management, information, working consistently, repetitively, and routine. And I call this in my book Management by Algorithm, the new MBA. And this is because people expect their leaders to be compassionate as well. And let's face it, AI fails there. AI doesn't care whether you die tomorrow or not. There's no compassion. So these are really the boundary conditions where we see, we need something else. Because leadership is not just management. AI doesn't have empathy, emotional intelligence, or imagination why it would happen. So, of course, we need to train our human leaders. We need to have leadership courses, but with a specific focus much more on the traits that humans have. Curiosity, imagination, emotional intelligence, the ability to make ethical judgments. We need to focus even more on those to make sure that we can contribute this in the most optimal way to how we run our organizations. If you look at the quote of Norbert Wiener, the founder of cybernetics, he said, If we use to achieve our purposes a mechanical agency with whose operation we cannot efficiently interfere, once we have started, it's because the action is so fast and irrevocable that we don't have the data to intervene before the action is complete, then we better be quite sure that the purpose put into the machine is the purpose which we really desire, and not just an imitation of it. We need to understand the purpose, and everyone needs to do this, because else we get lost in the data that's out there, and we may put the wrong data in our models, and it's not going to serve our companies. So the main conclusions, and then I want to answer some questions, is from my book is the three key messages that I really want to get across is that, first of all, when we look at leadership, it's a human activity and it will remain way. So it addresses also the fact that we need to focus much more on understanding a human-centered use of AI. I hear this term a lot, but I also see that a lot of people don't use it in the right and appropriate way. Human-centered is not only understanding you're doing it for a human end user and that's sufficient. That's the first step, but it's really thinking about what will be the implications when we implement certain AI technologies.